All right, we're going to begin with a speed test today, speed drill number 18. So if you would open up your speed drill booklets to page 8 in your speed drill booklets. And speed test 18 there at the bottom. Miscellaneous stuff. We got adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Go in the order that fits you the best. There's a little bit with decimals. It's a single money problem. There's a single problem with fraction in it. Just an assortment of problems. You're going to have 4 minutes to complete the speed drill, and you may begin. Stop. Pencils down. In fact, pencils off your desks, pens out. And exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. Exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. Next time you get to move the lane. All right, and if you would sign your name at the bottom of the page as the grader. Sign your name at the bottom of the page as the grader. And these are 10 points each. 10 points each. Going across the top row, number 1, the answer should have been 2,482. 2,482. Number 2, the answer should be $4.83. $4.83. Now, if they just forgot the dollar sign, just minus a point, okay? If that's their only mistake. But otherwise, $4.83. For number 3, 760. 760. For number 4, 33,712. 33,712. Number 5, 3.5. 3.5. Make that a 7 2/2, and then you can do the subtraction to get 3.5. Number 6, going across the bottom row, 213. Number 7, 1,772. 1,772. Number 8, 17,250. 17,250. Number 9 should have been 317. 317. And number 10 is 88. 88. All right, they're 10 points each. Figure the score to the best of your ability. Put it in the score blank. Also make sure you put it on the score page. Some of us have been forgetting to put things on the score page. Make sure you put it in the score page next to where it says Speed Drill 18. Put them in both places if you would, please. And return to the owner. Pass them forward to the person in front of you. Person in the front, take it to the back. And take a look at your score. Once all owners have their speed test back, take a look at your score. I saw that bottle happening. I was like, it's going to not do it. All right. Any hundreds? Any hundreds? Any 90s? Just missed 1. 80s? Just missed 2. All right. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So the first one, what's the answer?
2,482.
That's what I thought.
All right. Sam, question.
What was number 4?
Number 4 was 33,712. Do we need to see any of these words? Jalen, question.
What was number 7?
Number 7 was 1,772. All right. Kirsten.
What was number 8?
Number 8 was 17,250. Do we have questions on how to do these, or are we just wondering what the right answers were? Because I can go through when I grade them later. My point of taking questions is to help you if you're like, I didn't know how to work this, or, you know, could you show how to work something? Yes, ma'am.
Can you show number 4?
Number 4? Yeah. So obviously we need to multiply the 6 first of all, and so we've got to be careful as we multiply the 6 to carry properly. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1, 6 times 9 is 54, plus 1 is 55. Carry the 5, 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23. Then we're going to make sure we put the 0 and shift over. Some of us had an issue remembering that this year. Then it's going to be the 8 that gets multiplied. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1, there was already 1 up there. 8 times 9 plus 1 is 73. Carry the 7, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 7 is 31. And so now when we multiply, or when we add, we get the 33,712. All right, did you find your mistake?
Yeah, I put a 1 for I put 13,000 instead of 33,000.
Oh.
I was probably looking at the 1 and 31,000 while I was writing.
All right. Pass them forward if you would, please. Pass them forward if you would, please. Putting yours on top. I want you to turn in your books then to page 239 and 240, and there's some review. Some of these things we have not done since the first day of school. So I want to refresh our memory on some things, decimals to fractions, fractions to decimals, based on place value as opposed to memorized equivalents. So take a few moments and do pages 239 and 240, numbers 27 to 30. Some things we haven't talked about since our first lesson of the year, some of these things. So, good review for us. I want to make sure we don't forget certain things. Bless you. least the pressure's gone. Yeah, you did great. I'm proud of you. Just another minute or so to be working on these problems, just doing 27 to 30. Yes, ma'am. All right, pencils down. Even if you're not finished with all of these, if I wanted to represent 702 thousandths as a decimal, we need to remember what thousandths means, class. How many digits are in the thousandths place?
3.
3 digits after the decimal, right? So I need to fill in 3 digits after the decimal, and when I put the 2, the 0, and the 7, well, I get 0.702. How many had that answer for letter A? Looking at letter B, how many digits do I need after the decimal on letter B, Corey?
4.
4. You count the number of zeros, right? The 10 thousandths place is going to have 4 decimal places because there's 4 zeros in there. And so what would our answer be for 9 10,000ths, Corey? 0.0009. How many had that? 3 zeros, and then in the 4th spot is your 9. Now letter C is kind of tricky. 2,425 tenths. How many decimal digits are we allowed, class?
1.
Only 1 decimal digit. Which number is going to go in that spot?
5.
The 5. So where do the 2 and the 4 and the 2 have to go? In front of the decimal. How many had 242.5? Again, thousandths, 3 zeros, 3 decimal places. 10 thousandths, 4 zeros, 4 decimal places. 10, 1 0, 1 decimal place. And then we're going the opposite direction on number 28. 0.033 becomes what, Sam? Well, how many decimal places? Letter A. How many decimal places are there? Just count them.
4.
Sam. 0.033. This first zero doesn't count as a decimal place. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So that's how many zeros we got to have.
It's going to be 1,000.
1,000. There we go. So 33 thousandths. For redemption, Sam, what about 0.267?
Then it's going to be 267 over 100.
How many decimal places in letter B? 3. So how many digits after the how many zeros in the answer?
1,000.
3. So we need 1,000. So again, 267,000. So Sam, letter C. When we make the fraction, I know the numerator is going to have to be 963, right?
Yeah.
How many zeros are going to have to be in my denominator?
3.
Look at letter C. How many? 6 of them, right? So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 1. What that means is we were in the millionths place. Or you could just count. Tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, millions. 963 millionths. How many have that for letter C? 963 millionths. Questions on decimals and fractions related to each other based on place value. Again, we haven't looked at that since the first or second lesson of the school year. It's been a very long time. Turn the page. They wanted each of these ratios expressed as fractions and then reduced. Letter A should have been really straightforward for us, Kirsten. 5 to 25 becomes
1/5 or 1 to 5.
1 to 5. It's written as 1/5, but we'll say it 1 to 5. The next one's a little harder. 12 to 288. Because it can reduce a good bit. What does it reduce down to, Michael?
1/5.
We're on letter B, Michael. Pay attention. Follow along with me.
1/14.
Not 1/14th, Luciana.
1/24.
1 to 24. It's written as 1/24th, but we read it 1 to 24. What about letter C? 884 to 78. Yeah, this one's a weird one. What did we get? Michael?
884 over 18.
Well, it would be over 78 initially, right?
Yeah.
884 to 78. This one's weird. Their common factor. Let's think about it. What's in 78? Well, we could certainly divide a 2 out, couldn't we? We could divide out a 2. And if we do, the bottom becomes what number, class?
39.
39. The top becomes
442.
442. Let's see. What can still be divided out? I don't know. 3 would come out of here, but can 3 come out of the top number? Well, what's the only other thing in 39? It's 3 times what?
3.
30 times 13, right? If 3 doesn't divide out, the only other thing possibly could be 13, but can 442 divide by 13? I don't know. How many times do you think a 13 would go into a 44? 3 times? Or what is 3 times 13, class? 39. We subtract to get 5. Can 13 go into 52?
Yeah.
4 times. So we could divide out a 13 from both of these to get the 34 to 3, and that would have been our final answer. That was a hard one because we're not used to dividing by 13, are we? That was kind of weird. Number 30, letter A, changing that percent to a decimal. What is 30A going to give us, Michael, for redemption?
0.429.
0.429. How about 2%, letter B, Jalen?
0.002.
How many places do we move the decimal?
Never mind. 0.02.
0.02, just move it 2 places, 0.02. How about letter C? What do we get then?
1.05.
We're on letter C.
2.27.
2.27 is correct. And then letter D, remember, what do I have to do before I can move any kind of decimal, class?
Change it to a decimal.
Change the half to what?
0.5.
0.5. I've got to change it first. Then I can move the decimal how many places, class?
2.
Just 2 times to get what, Griffin?
0.105.
0.105. Questions on ratios and percents to decimals, fraction decimals. Just good review we hadn't looked at in a while. Let me do a few word problems then. 31 to 34 now. I'm going to do 31 to 34, working with different percents. And then we'll get into looking at our homework and kind of get back to mixed measures. We're going to take a little bit of a break from measures at the start of the hour today to review some other things that are needful for us to remember. When it talks about percent of increase or percent of decrease, class, what's my formula?
Change over original.
A few of us remembered pretty well. Class, how do I find a percent of increase or a percent of decrease?
Change over original.
So, from Gavin's first test to his second test, what is the change, class?
92%. 50? No.
Wait, 7?
Look at number 31. Gavin's first test score was what, class?
84.
And his second test was a what?
91.
How much did his grade go up?
7.
7 points. The change is 7.
Oh.
We're going to put that over the original. What was his original score?
84.
84. I could divide this way, but I'd rather reduce it down to get what fraction, class? 1/12. So I'm dividing 12 into 1. I'm going to put some .000s here. Class, can 12 go into 10?
No.
No. But it can go into 100 how many times? 8. 8 times 12 equals? 96. We can subtract to get 4, bring down the 0. How many times 12 go into 40? 3 times, because 3 times 12 is? 36. We subtract, we get 4. What's going to happen here, class? It's going to keep repeating the 3, but it's said to round to the nearest 10th of a percent. So if I go boink, boink, that gives me 8.3, because the next 3 isn't going to bump it up, right? 8.3%. If you happen to say 8.3 repeating percent and did not round, or you said 8 1/3%, I would take those answers also. How many had 8.3% increase? How many forgot change over original? Gotta remember, can't be forgetting stuff. Questions on number 31? Yes, ma'am?
What if you got 8%?
Well, it said, what was the percent of increase to nearest 10th? So, minus a point or two for not following directions. Number 32, maximum speed limit for a work zone is 45, but the regular speed was 60. Let me say that again. The regular speed was 60, but because of some road work, they took the speed limit down to 45. When it asks for the percent of decrease, class, what formula do I need? Change over original. What's the change in the speed?
15.
But be careful here. What was the original speed?
60.
60. They took it down to 45 because of the road work. And this was awkwardly worded where you might not notice that. How many realize 60 is the regular or original speed? How many said 45 was the original? How many completely forgot change over original? Change over it. Okay, what is 15/60ths reduced to, class? 15 minutes out of 60 would be 1/4 of an hour, right? Well, we know what that is as a decimal.
0.25.
0.25, so what is that as a percent?
25%.
25% decrease in the speed limit. How many had 25% for 32? How many had 33 1/3%? Yeah, okay, careful. Work zone wasn't the original. Number 33, read that for us, if you would. Bryson.
A special membership gives members 25% discount on the pre-orders if the new 65 game is pre-ordered. Find the discount in the final price.
All right, so there's some kind of membership with a video game company that you pre-order, you get a discount. So normally this new video game would cost how much, class? $60. This is the list price. This is how much money they want to get for the game. But if you remember, you get what, class?
20% off.
20% off. 20% off. Well, how much is 20% off? Well, let's find it. What is 20%? Well, as a decimal class, it's
0.2.
0.2. And if we multiply by 0.2, we end up getting what?
$18.
2 times 6?
$12.
12, right? 120 with a 0, knock that off. We basically get $12, class, off. What do we call this amount right here?
Discount price.
That's not the discount price, just the discount. This is the discount. This is how much you save. You save $12. How much do you pay? What do we need to do, Bryson? Subtract. How much were they asking? Minus how much you save. What would be then the sale price for the members? Anybody? $48. How many had $48 for the sale price here? Number 34. Take another minute to finish that up. Seems like we kind of struggled on 33. Hit 34. Give me another minute to work on that one. Find the discount. Find the sale price. I'm sleepy.
I didn't get it on.
Yeah, me neither. Michael, why don't you read 34 for us, nice and loud, so the camera can hear you.
A watch on clearance was marked down to 45% off the original retail price of $140. Find A, the discount, and B, the final price.
I just noticed something, Michael. It does not say 45% off the original price. It says 45% of the original price. That was sneaky of them, wasn't it? You only pay 45% of the original price. So, if you multiply the original list price by 0.45, class, what you are finding is actually the sale price. Because they didn't say 45% off. Question, class, if you pay 45%, what percent are you getting off?
45%.
No. If you pay 45%,
55.
you're getting 55% off. Does that make sense? So if we wanted to find the discount first, we need to multiply by 0.55 off to get the discount amount. Now, that doesn't mean you had to do it that way. You could start by finding the sale price if you really wanted to. We could multiply by 0.45 and we would get $63. That's the sale price. This is what they wanted. This is how much you end up paying. How much do you save then? How could I find that without multiplying? Jalen? You could still just subtract. But this time subtract what they wanted minus what you ended up paying to get the $77 discount. I don't think they've given us one like that before. That was sneaky. And I also, when I had you do it, Michael, I did not notice it said of instead of off. It was just as you read it, I was like, wait, that doesn't say off, does it? That says of. Oh, they're sneaky people. All right, so anyway, 55% off, pay 45% of the original price. Most of you would have had these numbers switched. How many had $77 sale price, $63 discount? And again, it's just because they were sneaky. All right, questions on that? Gotta love it, gotta love it. All right, page 235. Let's take a look at your homework now. Page 235, you had a lot of work to do with mixed measures, mainly subtracting and dividing. You've already taken a quiz that has multiplication and addition on it, though you'll probably see that again. Certainly on the test Friday, you'll see that again. We want to focus on the subtraction division. Number 14, what did you get for your answer, Elaine?
3 gallons and 2 quarts.
3 gallons and 2 quarts is correct. There we go, got it, thank you. Number 15, what did you get for your answer, Corey?
2 feet 7 inches.
2 feet 7 inches is correct. I'm sorry, Luciana. Number 16, leaving a path of wreckage in my wake. What did you get, Griffin?
3 cups, 15 fluid ounces.
How many fluid ounces are in a cup? 1 cup equals how many fluid ounces, class? 8. So we should have only added 8 fluid ounces to the 3 to get 11 fluid ounces minus 6 fluid ounces. Should have been 5 fluid ounces. So 3 cups, 5 fluid ounces should have been our answer there. Number 17 for redemption, Griffin.
1 yard, 17 inches.
There we go. 1 yard, 17 inches is correct. Number 18, what did you get? Kirsten?
5 yards and 1 foot.
5 yards, 1 foot. That was kind of insulting because there was no borrowing needed, but good job anyway. Number 19, what did you get then? Oh, this one's nasty.
1 mile and 7 feet.
How many feet are in a mile? Uh-oh.
520. 5,280.
There we go, 5,280. So when we borrow that mile to take us down to 7 miles, we've got to bring 5,280 feet over to join the 12 feet to get 5,292 feet, then subtract. So we're going to have a whole bunch of leftover feet here. Sam, what did you get for 19?
I didn't.
Oh, the pain.
1 mile, 5,280 feet. 5,276 feet.
There we go, 1 mile, 5,276 feet should have been our answer for 19. Let's go back to Ben on number 20. When we divided, what did you get?
8 yards and 1 inch.
8 yards, 1 inch. Number 21, Sam.
5 bushels and 10 pecks.
Ooh, 2 goes into 34 only 5 times. Number 21. Bryson?
7 bushels, 2 pecks.
Careful, not 7, 17 bushels. Okay, you did have that. 17 bushels, 2 pecks to be correct. Let me come back to Sam for number 22.
12
What?
On number 22, Sam, how many times does 12 go into 48? So we should have 4 minutes, and then how many times does 12 go into 24? So we should have 2 seconds. Does that make sense? Just divide each number by that 12. Number 23, what did you get, Luciana?
2 quarts.
3 gallons and 2 quarts. Number 24, Michael.
7 years and 5 months.
7 years, 5 months. Number 25, Kirsten.
Number 25.
Yes.
2 feet 5 inches.
2 feet 5 inches. Let's stop there. Was anyone perfect on those first 12? You went 12 for 12 on those several. How many just missed 1 or 2? Just missed 1 or 2. All right, questions. I'll work out a couple of these. Which ones do we need to see worked,
I
Michael?
have a question.
Yes.
For number 21, could
Yes.
you have, like, taking the pecks?
Made of bushels and divided 35 by 2 to get 17 and a half?
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's not a wrong answer, but yeah, good observation. Like, wait a second, they gave 4 pecks. That's 1 more bushel. Yeah, that's true. They don't normally make that mistake, but they did there, didn't they? Good observation. But no, just leave it at 17 bushels, 2 pecks. Good. Other questions? Any we need to see worked, especially for those who maybe struggled with these. Which ones do we need to see worked out on the board? Yes, ma'am.
It's just a question.
Yeah.
So I thought there was 8 pecks in a bushel.
No, 8 quarts in a peck, 4 pecks in the bushel. So I want to make sure we know that for Friday's test, right? Yes.
My brain stopped raining.
Okay, all right. Other questions? Last call of questions for any of these to be worked out. All right, let's take a look at some word problems. Number 26. Ms. Dodd picked 25 pounds, 12 ounces of pecans. How many say pecan? How many say pecan? You're kidding. Southerners. All right. Ms. Dodd picked 12 pounds and 12 ounces of pecans at Mrs. Griffin's pecan. Mrs. Griffin has a pecan grove. How about that? She gave half the pecans to Mrs. Allen. What was the total weight of pecans that Mrs. Dodd gave away? Half. If she gave away half, class, what do we need to do?
Divide.
By
2.
Just divide by 2. So we need to take the 25 pounds. We need to take the 12 ounces and divide by 2. Class, 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 5
2.
twice, but with how many left over?
1.
So when we subtract away this, we're going to have 1 pound left over. Now here's the question, Sam. What does that pound have to become?
It has to be converted to ounces.
How many? 16 ounces. Now, I already had 12 ounces, but now there's 16 additional ounces. So really, how many ounces do we have, Sam? 28. That is what gets divided by the 2. And class, 28 divided by 2 gives us 14 ounces. Of course, we had here the 12 pounds. That's how much Mrs. Allen gets. How many had? 12 pounds, 14 ounces for number 26. Questions on 26? Looking at number 27, Mr. Johnson worked 47 hours, 20 minutes last week. By the way, anyone remember how much I said is standard work week in America? How many hours? Class?
8.
8, no,
Our standard work day is 8, so work week would be 40 hours, right? 40 hours. Anything over 40 hours is considered overtime. We're going to talk about that next semester. But Mr. Johnson worked 47 hours, 20 minutes. Average hours and minutes he worked each day of the 5 days. To find out how much his average was each day, class, what do I got to do? Divide by 5. So we're going to take the 47 hours, 20 minutes that he worked total, and simply divide by 5. And class, how many times is 5 go into 47?
9.
9 times. What is 9 times 5 though, Ben?
45.
45. So how many leftover hours do we have, Ben?
3.
7 minus
Right,
5?
2.
2. We have 2 leftover hours, and then what do those 2 hours have to become?
Minute.
How many minutes? Each hour is
120.
60, so 120 minutes. There we go. But then we already had 20 minutes sitting up here. Now we've got another 120. So really, how many minutes we got?
140.
140 minutes. Those 140 minutes get divided by the 5. Class 5 goes into 14 twice. That's 10. How many left over? 4. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 40 8 times. And so we end up with 9 hours, 28 minutes. How many have that for number 27? Several of you. Good questions on 27. Number 28, we were just multiplying, but we're multiplying this thing by 9, and there's 3 units here. So we're going to have to multiply each of them by 9. Initially, what do you get for your answer here? Corey?
54 gallons, 27 quarts, and 9 pints.
How many initially had the same 54 gallons, 27 quarts, 9 pints? You got that initial answer. Can we leave our answer like this, class?
No.
No, because we've got way too many pints. It only takes how many pints to make a quart, class?
8.
Two pints to make a quart. So how many 2s are in here, class? 4 sets of 2. That's 8 total pints that I'm going to subtract. So I'm only going to be left with 1 pint. But those 8 pints became 4 quarts, which get added on, class, to temporarily give me 31 quarts. But I can't even leave 31 quarts because, class, it only takes how many quarts to make a gallon? 4 quarts. Oh, class, we got to know these. We got a test coming up Friday. Bryson, it only takes 4 quarts to make a gallon. How many 4s do I have in 31? How much times 4 go into 31? Class, help it. 7, almost 8, right? 8 times 4 would be 32. We're almost there, so 7 times. So I can take this and get 7 additional gallons. How many, though? 7 times 4, back to Bryson, is? 28. So I'm going to take away 28 of those quarts, so I now only have...
Oh, still me?
Yeah.
3
quarts. So I have this 1 pint, I have these 3 quarts, and then those 7 gallons get added onto the 54 to give me...
61.
61 gallons. How many have this answer? 61 gallons, 3 quarts, 1 pint for number 28. Ooh, only a few of us. Questions on that? Questions on that? And the last one, we just need to add up all those pounds and ounces and stuff. And what do we initially get for our answer on 29, Jalen?
I don't have
Kirsten?
40 pounds and 28 ounces.
Initially 40 pounds, 28 ounces, but coming back to Jalen, it only takes how many ounces to make another pound?
16.
So if we take away 16 of them, that adds on an extra pound. Your final answer?
41 pounds, 12 ounces.
41 pounds, 12 ounces. How many have that answer for number 29? All right, questions on the homework? Any questions on the homework? All right. Maybe in the side margin of your book or on a separate sheet of paper, I know most of you have a piece of paper out. I want you to write this problem down. 11 yards, 1 foot, 8 inches. And we're going to divide all of that by 4. Luciana, what do we need to do first to divide this mixed measure or compound measure, so to speak, by 4?
See how many times 4 can go into 11?
Good. How many times does 4 go into 11?
2.
2 times. So that gives me 2 yards. But when I multiply 2 times 4, that's only,
8.
which leaves me with
3 yards.
3 yards left over. Now what do I need to do here, Griffin?
Convert the yards into feet.
Convert those 3 yards into feet. How many feet would 3 yards
9.
become? 9 feet. But, Griffin, I already had a foot up here, so I really have
10.
10 feet. And once I got the total number of feet, class, I need to do what?
Convert it.
Divide it. That's the whole point, right? Divide. So the whole point of getting the total feet is so that I can divide. Divide 10 divided by 4. And how many times does 4 go into 10, Elaine?
2.
2 times. So that's 2 feet. But 2 times 4 is only
8.
8 feet. So really, I have how many leftover feet now, Elaine?
2.
2 feet left over. Now what do I need to do? Michael?
Convert the feet over to inches.
2 feet becomes how many inches?
24 inches.
But Michael, I already had 8 inches up here. Now I've got 24 more. So really, Michael,
31. Wait, 32.
I have 32 inches. And once I've got the total number of inches, class, what do?
Divide.
Divide it. That's the whole point. Get the total inches so you can divide. And class, how many times does 4 go into 32? 8 times evenly. And we'll get this answer. Questions on if there's 3 of the units, how to divide. Same process. You just have to do it one extra time. Questions on this? All right. In your textbooks, flip all the way over to page 248, please. All the way over to page 248. I want you to do numbers 138 to 148. So page 248, numbers 138 to 148. Converting units. It's going to be a big part of your test on Friday. Remember, if you're going from larger to smaller, multiply smaller to larger, divide. Unless it's metric, then all we got to remember is King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk, and boink the right number of times and in the right direction. Just another minute or so to be finishing up these 11 conversions. Empire State Building. Empire State Building. Well, let's take a look at these together. Number 138, 24 feet, how many inches? Well, class, how many inches are in a foot? 12. So all we have to do is multiply by 12. You get a big number of inches, Elaine.
288.
288. Number 139, 126 teaspoons. How many tablespoons? Well, class, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
3.
3. And all we need to do is
Divide.
divide. We're going from smaller to larger by 3 to get what, Corey?
42.
42 tablespoons. Number 140, 44 quarts. How many gallons? Well, how many quarts are in a gallon, class?
4.
4. And all we need to do is
Divide.
divide smaller to larger by 4 to get, Griffin?
Number
Pay attention, boy. Number 140.
11.
I've only given 2 answers so far. What are you doing? Pay attention. Number 141 is 11 gallons. Number 141, I don't need to think about smaller to larger or larger to smaller. All I got to do, class, is
Boink.
boink. Now, it's a whole bunch of boinks. What's my answer to number 141, Kirsten?
0.06342.
0.06342 hectoliters is correct. Number 142, again, I don't need to think about smaller to larger. I just need to boink a whole bunch of times to get what, Ben?
White.
Class, what number are we on?
142.
142. Pay attention. What do we get on 142, Ben?
5,130 decagrams.
Oh, all right, careful here. Is DG decagrams or decigrams, class?
Decigrams.
You're not wrong. If this had been decagrams, Ben, you'd be exactly right. But we want to go to the next D. So remember, we have the died unexpectedly drinking. We want to go this way. So give yourself 2 more zeros on the back end of your number and you would have been correct. So you just read that as decagrams instead of decigrams. 513,000 should have been our answer. Number 143, we need a boink from meters, which is the unit, to millimeters. What do we get, Sam?
18.3.
18.3. Number 144, we're going to divide by 16 to get how many pounds, Jalen?
12.
12 pounds is correct. Number 145, we need to divide by 2,000 as we go from smaller to larger. How many tons, Bryson?
I did that wrong.
Okay, Luciana?
4.5.
4.5 or 4.5. Number 146, we'll come back to Bryson. 780 seconds, how many minutes?
13.
Say it again.
Said that wrong. 13.
13 is correct. 13 minutes. I just didn't hear you correctly. Number 147, we need to boink just a little tiny bit, Michael. 147, Michael? Kirsten? 21 kilometers. And number 148, 34 weeks. How many days, Elaine?
238.
238 days. How many got all the ones you did correct? Even if you didn't finish all of them, the ones you did were correct. All right, questions on any of these? Homework for this evening is to do page 242. That one's not on me. Some people have been paying attention. I would have had to slow down. All right, page 242. I want you to do the homework numbers 1 to 13. Page 242, the homework numbers 1 through 13. We'll take a look at that tomorrow as we get into a little bit more review for your test coming up Friday in lesson 59. Page 242, homework numbers 1 through 13. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You are dismissed.